What is up, HoopRipz? Welcome to episode 17. If you listened to episode 16, you know what we're about. It's about fun. And you also know that our cameras are on. I can see Mike's smiling face. I can see Ryan's face.
It's just his face. Hey, nice
just his
face, dude.
Hey, guys. Ryan, hi. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Chief?
What was that?
I don't know. Just
You got something on your face.
we got six chins. You gotta hide at least one of them.
No, it's like that South Park quote. It's like, hey, you got shit on your face. Well, that's my face, sir.
Yep. As always, it's your host, Eric Mendoza. Got my guys, Ryan and Mike. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm good, Doze.
And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see that we are
Not
all
gonna ask.
wearing the HoopRipz uniform. Apparently a black hoodie, a black hat, and
Hey, man, this is navy blue.
well, on here it looks black, my friend. April has, I think we're in the same hoodie. Oh no, mine's different.
Shout out, Vince.
Shout out,
Oh,
Mike, the
We got
trader.
two of
North
three
Face.
wearing the Vince Sirico hat. Shout out to Vinny.
Vinny.
the man,
love me
the
some
myth,
Vinny.
the
GOAT.
legend.
The GOAT.
The
Well,
goat.
hey, as we just said, we have a YouTube channel now. If you don't go subscribe to that, we have 8 subscribers. 3 of them are on this call. The others are probably our parents. So,
Yo,
if you
low key, I don't think I've subscribed yet. So
oh,
it's only 2 of us. We're about to get 9.
Yeah.
Right, Mike's
quick.
Judas.
Yeah, I could have told you that
Facts.
news years ago.
Disrespect.
Topic 1 of the day: Mike is a Judas.
Whoa,
I
don't
have a
get caught.
soapbox
Don't get caught.
topic, Doze, to kick us off. I wanted
A
to
soapbox.
just- yeah, I have a soapbox I need to get on because I saw something today on Instagram and I wanted to complain about it a little bit before we get started. But
That's good
I'll let
for
you
a good
continue
complaint.
the introdoskin.
Yes, Introdoskin. Well, we got a good show ahead today. We're going to talk about an awesome topic, a topic very near and dear to our hearts, our favorite basketball video game of all time. Going to get nostalgic. Ryan's going to say the obvious. Mike's going to say the
He's going to rip
something.
on ours. That's what he's going to do.
Oh, yeah, Ryan's going to rip on ours. That's
He's like,
probably
those
sure.
are stupid, dude.
There are right answers to this question. I don't think you guys realize that, and I don't think either of you are going to get either of them. But it's fine.
All
It's
right.
cool.
Whatever he
We're also
says
gonna-
is a shitty game, it's because he sucked.
No,
So
I
he's bad at it.
bodied
Like
at
Halo?
basketball games. But okay, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
Hey,
I'm not.
God.
No. Okay.
Oh,
Anyways, let's just keep going. I got
All
a
right,
hard
all right.
stop at midnight.
after we talk about video games, we'll talk who deserves a comeback. So we're going to look at guys that aren't on NBA rosters right now and which of them should be on a roster. So we'll talk about that. We'll also play a little game that Ryan has called Fate of the Universe, and it's from that Max Kellerman quote. Fate of the Universe,
Mhm.
the aliens are going to blow up planet Earth. Who are you taking with the last shot? We'll discuss that. Also, who are you not taking? We'll do a little what if, game. That's always fun. And then we'll talk about sports card grading. Ryan mentioned on the last episode that PSA has upped their prices on grading sports cards. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show. So that's it. We're going to get into it. Ryan's got a soapbox to get on. But before we do, I just got to say it. You know, it's the legal bit. Normally this is in the upfront, but now that we're on video, we'll do it here. The views and opinions on the show are our own and do not express the opinions of our employers. Right, Mike?
That's fact.
That's fact. All right. Let's get into it. Ryan, do you want a soapbox before we jump into some video games?
Yes, Dozer. I really appreciate the handoff here. Listen,
I can't wait.
I was on Instagram today, scrolling, doing some community moderation, something that Mike's never done in his life, both personally and professionally. I came across a post from NBA on ESPN, and it was a quote from Stephen A. Smith about LaMelo Ball. And he says, he's the player we were promised Lonzo Ball would be. And I take tremendous issue with that statement. And I even commented on the post from HoopRipz because I was
Hope he
fucking
sees it,
fired
dude.
up. I know no one's gonna like it or anything, not even you two, which should be the bare minimum of engagement. But anyways,
We'll talk about that later. Your takes on HoopRipz, speaking
My
on
takes
behalf of all of us.
are
They're
badass.
sick
Yes,
cheeks.
that's
I have to
that's an
respond to
issue.
it personally.
no,
I have to
that's
respond to it
actually
personally.
no. I know, which is dumb. You can't counter our own
LaMelo's a
podcast.
superstar.
He is. We have
God,
no one. Okay, we need to
dude.
define what a superstar is before we even start bitching about that. But my point about this topic is that I disagree with that statement. I think I wrote this. I think if anybody expected Lonzo to be what LaMelo is, they were sadly mistaken because, yes, they have similar, I think, capabilities, but for the most part, they actually have a lot of differences in their game. The primary one being, I think Lonzo was pass first, right? Much more into facilitating and setting up his guys, right? I think LaMelo, while he's a very good and capable passer, his skill set is much more on the flashy side, and he can score from anywhere. He's not afraid to get to the rim. He's not afraid to shoot a 35-foot three-pointer heat check on a fast break. And surprisingly, he's been making those shots more often than not. But he has a lot of self-confidence, and I think Lonzo doesn't have that kind of self-confidence. And I think a lot of that was because of the unfair expectations that were given to him. And I think for me, my personal opinion is, when it comes to Lonzo, sure, I'm defensive of him because he's a UCLA guy. But overall, I think objectively speaking, you have to know the player for what they are before you give them expectations. It's unfair to do it the inverse way, right? And I think people give him expectations and didn't really know and study the game that he plays. And Lonzo doesn't care if he gets 0 points a game. Like, he cares if his team wins and gets 10 points. Versus LaMelo, I see as a guy that enjoys a win, but I do think LaMelo enjoys getting buckets and being in SportsCenter's top 10, right? So my point is, it's an unfair comparison that was made, I think, between Lonzo and LaMelo, but it's always going to be there because they're brothers. It's always going to be a him versus him kind of thing, but it doesn't need to be. And I think it's because they're totally different players. So my take on this is that it's a butt take from Stephen A. Smith.
Free LiAngelo. Well, we all know that you're a big Lonzo Ball fan. So I saw that and I immediately thought that you would have taken exception to that. You know,
dude.
You get offended a lot. You're a very offendable guy. So
okay, let's time out. Mike, please settle the debate. At one
That
point,
has nothing to do.
No, at one point,
I was able to take jokes.
I take a lot of jokes, but Doza has come down to my level. Okay, Mike, come on. I have a fucking red receipt. I will show it.
You guys have both fallen into the soft category of taking jokes. You guys got softer on me.
Okay, I accept that.
You were like this, and now you're like this. Oh, sorry.
Hey, make it good.
Wow.
Is that a violin?
Is that a
That was
is that a Doza?
That was a little violin for Ryan's Lonzo Ball. But hey,
superstar Lonzo Ball.
No, I didn't say that. I said LaMelo's a superstar.
Oh yeah, sorry. Even God. Okay.
Well,
you guys don't.
Maybe we'll get into this topic on should the HoopRipz, since we all have access to the HoopRipz Instagram page, and when takes
we gotta sign off our name. We gotta sign off our name.
Yeah, Sir Doze.
You need to have a sign off.
They're Sugma, Mike.
Oh man, gotta sign it off because calling LaMelo a superstar on behalf of all of us was a little far. Anyway, let's get into it. Favorite basketball video game of all time. There's a million you could say here. There's a lot you could say. Any number. We need specifics. If you're saying something like 2K, we need a specific. Or NBA Live, you need a specific year. There's a lot more beyond that, that we'll get into. So, Mike, take us away. Favorite basketball video game of all time.
I have a few, like we talked about.
Yes.
So I will say the latest one, my favorite was obviously NBA 2K. It was 2K16. It was the first time that they included the My Park feature where you could go play 3-on-3 with online with other players. And then they also had the Pro-Am where you could have your created player with your 4 friends. You run fives basically online against someone else with your created player. So I had a full squad of buddies, and we all had like a point guard, a shooting guard, small forward, everything, a big man. And we would run fives online for hours a night. Most of the time we were cheeks because people in 2K are so damn good, dude.
People
They're
are so good.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and because a lot of people, dude, there is hero ball in 2K. Everyone's like, dude, my creative player is the best. I make all the shots. So there's not a lot of passing going on. And then obviously probably throwbacks. NBA Jam was on Super Nintendo was the very first basketball game I had ever played. And I played that religiously with my older brothers. They would kick my ass in it and make me cry, but that's part of being little brother. You got to do it. And then my sleeper pick, which Ryan's going to disagree with because he already told me that it's butt, which he's wrong, is NBA Street Volume 2 on the Xbox and PS2. Is basically like the new age NBA Jam, which is probably why I liked it so much. It reminded me so much of the original on Super Nintendo. It just had a way doper soundtrack, I thought. But they had this feature called the Game Breaker, which was basically like your signature move or like your version of On Fire from NBA Jam. And once you activated it, the screen would like tint to an orange and play this really dope music. And it would go to like this cut scene of all three of your players doing like this dope play. And it was like an automatic bucket. So those are probably my top 3 in terms of basketball games. There's a lot though. So you guys might have some overlap. Maybe not that 2K year, maybe NBA Jam's an overlap, but those are mine.
I think 2K16 was when I think Steph Curry was like his shot. He didn't miss. He was kind of one of those broken players in that game. I think the Spurs were super good in 2K16. I think that was right when like LaMarcus was in his prime there. They still had Tony Parker. Ginobili is always a fun video game guy. Danny Green.
Yeah, dude, their My Career mode was just like, it was so good. It was like the first time 2K actually changed their game. And I don't think they've changed it since then. It's like every 10 years they change it. Other than that, every year it's the same shit.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
Oh yeah.
Well, Ryan, what about you, man? I'm sure being the older gentleman on the group, you might have some more Atari.
Sega Dreamcast, dude.
8-bit video games.
Yes, 100p. So, yes, I think Mike, 2 out of 3, I agree with what he said for sure on NBA Jam. I kind of hated how they tried to remake it for Xbox in like 2012 or whatever it was, the arcade like edition with like updated rosters. It just wasn't the same. But NBA Street is butt. For me, my favorite game of all time is an 8-bit game on NES and Sega, but I had it for NES. It was called Arch Rivals. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a 2-on-2 full court arcade basketball game where there was no fouls ever being called, ever. And you can literally punch and like push guys and beat
like
their ass.
NFL Blitz.
100%. Yeah. And so it was so sick because there was like the crowd would kind of get involved. They would throw trash on the floor and you would like slip on it. And then like, it was an absolute – I played that game for hours and hours and hours. And I still would. And I honestly – I have my NES still from when I was a kid, but I can't find this game, which breaks my heart. So that was my favorite game of all time. And I think at the time I was like 5 or 6, and I probably played it until I was like 18, honestly. It was just that fucking good. My second favorite is Kobe Bryant Courtside, too. Love Kobe Bryant Courtside. One was pretty good, but number 2 is my favorite. They had like an arcade edition where you could score from like anywhere on the floor, and like based off where you shot from, you got like 5, 10, 20 points. And then, you know, if you got like heated up like NBA Jam, you do a 360 dunk. You had Chick Hearn and Stu Lance, you know, as color commentators who were the Lakers commentators back in the day. So it was just awesome, like an awesome environment. I remember playing that game so much. My dad came into my room once. He's like, it'd be great if you put this kind of time into your actual like basketball game, like, you know, in real life instead of this shit. I'm like, Dad, look,
what are you talking about, dude? I'm so fucking good.
I'm in the finals right now, man. And I was always the Pistons, because that was when they had
before
like
Twitch.
their sick. Yeah, before Twitch. Like he didn't understand. He still doesn't understand. He'll come over to my house sometimes. He's like, what are you watching on TV? Like, Dad, it's Nick Merckx, dude. I remember I used to shit on you guys early on, like last year. Like, why do you guys always watch Twitch? It's funner to play. It's butt to just watch. But I have to issue
always
a apology. Now it's always fucking on. So those are my 2 favorite games. Obviously, they're the best games ever. So anything you guys say is not going to come close to it. But we'd love to hear kind of your consolation choices, Doza.
Consolation. You know, I was a good bro. I was actually supposed to go second, and I let you go first. I was supposed to go second.
Wow.
You go before me. So
react,
please. All right, my picks. I had a few. I would agree. NBA Jam. You know, Ryan, I think you have it sitting next to you in your room, the actual arcade version. It's right over there.
Over there.
Love that. Even though we'll all get carpal tunnel from playing the arcade version of that on our fingers.
Oh my God, dude! Don't even get me started.
Mike still can't make a fist.
I can feel it, dude. I think there's like knots in my arm.
But for me, my favorite 2K was probably 2K11. It was the first time. Here's an image to jog your memories.
I was going to say, who's on the cover? Oh, okay.
It was the first time
put Jordan.
They put Jordan back on the cover, and they actually put him in the game. It was, I think, one of the first times that you could play as like legendary teams, like the 97 Bulls or 92 Lakers or whatever. And that was right when I was in college, and me and my buddies would play that till who knows when. It was before I got really into FIFA, and I was still in the 2K craze. And then after this, 2K just became the same every year, and I've never been a big fan of like the ball handling on 2K. It's like super laggy and not very responsive, but I did play a lot of 2K in college. But my favorite game from nostalgic when I was a kid, I have it right here actually, since I found all my old games from PlayStation. Well, half of them. I had another one of these, but it's missing. Was this one right here, NBA 07 The Life. And it was one of the first ones that I found that had like the life thing where you could like sign with the brand.
This is like the cribs.
Yeah, and like get a girlfriend
and stuff.
And like all this stuff. You could like have a girlfriend and all this stuff. And I made a player and just obsessed over, getting signed, getting all this stuff. Sucked at first, and so yeah, that was one of my favorites. I was a big street fan as well, Mike. I think I have it here. The street games were a blast. I don't know what was so fun about them. NFL Street was also phenomenal. Jumping off walls with like Ricky Williams in NFL Street was freaking badass. So it was fun to look through some of these games, man. Do you guys remember this one? SSX Tricky.
What's that one? Yeah.
SSX Tricky. That was a fun one. Dude, I got some fun games. Oh, here's one of the greatest of all time right here. Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, yeah. 100p.
We're getting a little off the basketball topic, but it was fun to.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
we'd love to stick to the agenda.
We should. Well, what we should do for a topic for a later day is take the NBA Jam topic and think of which duo in the league right now would be the best in NBA Jam.
Duos.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Duos.
Zion and Brandon Ingram.
They would be pretty good.
How about this? This was pre-COD. SOCOM.
Oh, God.
I got some stuff in here,
Parents
man.
didn't want to buy me COD, so I got SOCOM.
Madden 06.
I was the same way.
Oh, dude, Madden with Vic 04 was, I think it was 04. Oh, my God, dude.
Did you guys ever play this?
Wasn't even fair.
Ratchet and Clank. Did you guys ever play that one?
No, I played better games.
Oh, yeah, same. Okay. Well, let's move on. That's fun. I think we can all agree NBA Street Volume 2 is probably the clear choice in that one, so we'll just move on.
NBA Ballers Phenom was another one. Sorry, move on.
Okay, we'll move on. Let's talk about who deserves a comeback. There's been a lot of talk lately after Isaiah Thomas balled out for Team USA that he should be on a roster. He was a beast with the Celtics, and even all the way back to his college days, he was one of my favorite players in college at Washington. I think one of our early episodes, we talked about that. So let's talk about it. Ryan, I'm going to throw it over to you first on who deserves a comeback, some players in the league that aren't in the league but should be. So take us away.
This is tough, man. I feel like the list is kind of short. You bring up Isaiah Thomas a lot, and I think that's a very fair comparison. He was an MVP candidate just a few years ago, then got hurt, and unfortunately that kind of derailed things for him. But for me, if I had to look at who's not in the NBA but should be, it's going to be a butt take in your guys' opinions. But
oh boy,
I'm going to say Jimmer Fredette. I think Jimmer Fredette, man,
Jimmer,
that guy can fucking ball. He belongs in the league. I mean, he's in the CBA right now, which is arguably the second best professional league in the world, out there in China. And he's putting up 70 points, whatever it was, Mike. I think you kind of
70-piece nugget.
Yeah, and he's put up more than that. I think he put up like a 90-piece too in that same league. And
did he really?
Dude is insane, man. I remember 2 years ago his team came to Houston and kind of played a preseason game against the Rockets. And I think he had like 55 points or something like that. Like he just absolutely just torched the Rockets. Rockets won because they had obviously a better team holistically. But I say Jimmer, man. I know I said some butt stuff earlier in this podcast a couple episodes ago that I thought if Jimmer was given the right opportunity, he could have been just as good as Steph Curry. And I still kind of feel that way a little bit. I said that. I have to own it. I have to fucking own that shit.
BYU
homer.
You got to convince
BYU
yourself.
homer.
No, I just think the guy is – I mean, what he did in the tournament, man, when he was in college, that run was insane. Like, absolutely insane. Like, he was the originator of, like, the half-court three-point shot. Like, he really was, in my opinion. Did it well before Steph did it. 100p.
No go Jimmer.
So,
Bro,
anyways, he's my pick.
That NCAA tournament with him, he was like must-watch TV, man. I mean, you had to get in and watch Jimmer. You had to.
They played in Denver the first couple rounds. I remember in the tournament, and that's basically like a home court advantage for BYU, and that was insane because the crowd was just going absolutely crazy for him. I think he was dropping back-to-back 40-point games. He beat Gonzaga, just bodied them. But that place was the Pepsi Center, I think it was. It was rocking because it was just up the street from Provo's, from Provo's. So. I would say Jimmer Fredette is my pick. Always will be.
Jimmer.
Love that man. From New York. Absolute baller.
Jimmer, man. Good pick. That's fun. It'd be fun to see him in the league. I don't think you'd see him putting up 40s and 50s and all that stuff. But you got to think he could be a contributor for a team that needs some sort of, ball creating, shot making. All right, Mike, who's your pick?
All right. So this guy played 5 seasons in the NBA. He's been out of the league, and he was out of the league at age 25.
Wow.
So I'm gonna give you numbers before I give you a name. I'm gonna give you some numbers, and I'll give you his like per 36 minutes because he didn't get a ton of run wherever he went.
Okay.
But his per 36 averaged 13 points and 13 rebounds, and 2 assists. So he was right on the brink of an era where I think small ball was like becoming the thing in the NBA and being able to guard like multiple positions and being just like freak athlete. I'm honestly going to compare him to Montrezl Harrell right now. Like he is Montrezl Harrell before Montrezl Harrell, hustles.
I know who it is.
Wait, when was he drafted?
Eats rebounds, putbacks, just a big motor guy. So
I know who it is.
I'm going to say Thomas Robinson.
Oh,
5th overall
that's not
pick
who I thought you were going to.
Back in 2012, and right now he's only 29 years old. And so the last 3 years that he was in the league, his per 36, he was averaging 17 and 15, 12 and 14, 15 and 14. So, and Ryan knows he loved that play when he chased down block Corey Brewer dunk in Portland, and then Will Barton had the alley-oop. At this point right now,
that was so dope.
At this point right now, he's only 29 years old, and I think he fits that perfect mold of a power forward being able to guard like a 3, 4, and 5, and just eats rebounds and gets put back buckets. So I would say T-Rob. He's still young. I don't even think he should have been out of the NBA in the first place. So he just never got the right chance or opportunity.
Who should pick him up? That's maybe a good follow-up question. Who should pick up Jimmer? Who should pick up T-Rob?
Man, I don't know. That'd be tough. I'd have to look, but any team could use either of those dudes.
Yeah.
Who did you think I was going to say, Doz?
I thought you were going to say actually one of the guys that I was going to pick, and it was going to be Kenneth Faried.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's only 30, and his I think the per 36 was a good way of looking at it. His per 36 was 16 points, 12 rebounds a game for over his career, and his most recent season he averaged 19 points, 12 rebounds. So I thought he should have been in the league. Those hustle guys, every team could always use them. It's kind of like what I look at Brandon Clark as on the Grizzlies, a guy that just works his butt off and just grinds in the paint. So I thought Kenneth Faried would have been a good one. Obviously, I think Isaiah should probably find a place in the league. Sean Livingston was another one that came to mind for me as a guy that probably is definitely past his prime, but for sure.
I think he retired, Doz.
I know, but he could still probably play.
Got it. Okay.
Gosh, talk about his injuries, man.
Yeah, I picked Michael Jordan.
Well, I thought we were
Michael
going
Jordan.
guys who just haven't been picked up, but could still play if given the opportunity.
Hey,
But yeah, no,
Sean
that's fair.
Livingston can
Play your own game, dude.
Yeah, Doza.
I'll play my own game.
This is why you don't play games. This is why Doza is always the host, guys.
Yeah, let me and Ryan play.
Doesn't know the motherfucking rules of his own games.
Oh man. Well, let's
Those
move
are good.
on. Let's go.
Those are good.
Kenneth Faried was, I guess, probably my top pick on my list, but let's move into the fate of the universe. Fate of the
Iguodala.
universe, one shot. Oh yeah. See, that's where this whole quote came from. For those of you that want the background, it was on First Take. Max Kellerman, Stephen A.
Y'all
Smith.
have heard it. Y'all have heard it.
I think Isaiah Thomas was there too, and they were like, "Fate of the universe, one shot, or the Monstars, whatever, all this stuff." And he goes, "I'm taking Andre Iguodala."
Yeah,
and everyone just
like a team
freaked
full
out.
of like Steph and Clay, maybe KD.
Oh
I don't even
gosh.
know.
One of the hottest butt takes of all time.
That's his job, man. That's their job to just have butt takes.
Yeah, true. I mean, shoot, dude, we
Like
should
Ryan.
be on TV then.
Just doing my job.
Asshole. I was gonna say something that you wanted me to say. I've now changed my answer because Mike's being a little. But
He was gonna say Dame.
no, I was gonna give him an honorable mention, but now he's
Okay.
gonna be on
Now
my
he's
list
off.
of.
He's
Now he's got a list of who I don't want to shoot at the end of the game.
So we're gonna go with
because he doesn't want to see me happy.
who's someone you want to take your team's last shot and who's someone you definitely don't want. So, Mike, you're going to go first on this one. What do you think, man? Who's taking your last shot? We'll each go around and say who we want taking our last shot, and then we'll follow up with who we don't want. So, Mike, go around. Give it.
Well, mine's
take us
it's
away.
short. I'm picking Dame, and I don't even think I need to explain why.
Yeah.
You're a homer.
I'm a homer, but like I think a lot of people in this world would probably pick Dame. Not even the fact like the percentage that he hits these shots, but like the level of difficulty that they are and where he shoots them are just insane to me. So it's hard for me to even consider somebody else for this.
Yeah. I mean, the stats are there too. I think all of even just this year with the game winner over the Bulls and some of that 6-game win streak that the Zers went on a couple weeks ago. I think he has 25 game tying or go ahead shots in the final 20 seconds in the past, 7 years or something like that.
Crazy.
And he currently leads the league with 5.5 points a game in what is identified as clutch time. So Dame time has been a thing for a few years now, and he hits them, man. So I think it's a fair.
All right, let's hear the consolation answers then, because that's the right answer.
Dude,
all right, Ryan, go ahead.
Earlier, you can't even. It doesn't even land a second time. Yes.
Your jokes land the 100th time. Every time you tell them.
You got to keep trying. You got to keep trying until you get that LOL.
I do not.
All caps. LOL. I would say, for me, Fate of the Universe, Death Star pointed at me. Universe. I'm gonna go with Kawhi Leonard.
Wow.
Now here's why. Listen, now it's not because of the shot he hit against the
He's
Sixers.
friendly bounces, dude. Whatever.
Yeah. For me, he is probably the most well-rounded scorer out of all the guys I was considering. He can get to the rim. His mid-range is fucking undeniable. It's clutch.
Automatic.
He knows how to navigate like double teams and stuff like that. And he's a very good free throw shooter too. Right. So, I think it depends on the situation. I think there's different, like 3-pointer, you go with Dame, right? I think Dame is the one you go with if you need a 3 to tie or 3 to win. But I think if it's like you're down by 2 or down by 1, you know what I mean? You don't need a 3 and you have an open opportunity inside the arc. I give it to Kawhi, and he's 6'9", 240. He's just literally has no body fat, unlike me, who has no muscle. So it's like he's the opposite of what I want to be, and he's just an absolute unit. So I say Kawhi, 100p.
Kawhi,
and if he gets triple team, then maybe give it to Dame. Maybe give it to Dame.
Pandemic P.
Yeah. So that's my take.
Kawhi.
He might have. So that team might have like the most clutch and least clutch dudes on their team.
Yeah, Paul George being the most clutch. I agree.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Kawhi. I love Kawhi.
Hey, Doze, how about you, man?
Hey, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
Oh, I didn't know Doze was playing. Sorry.
Doze asked himself, "Hey, Doze, what do you think?"
Hey, Eric, what do you think about this? Thanks, Eric.
Well, I think this. Well, what do you do?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I'm just like back and forth like this.
Fuck you. No.
I kind of thought about it similar to you, Ryan, of like what the situation is. I think if I had to pick one as it stands right now, I was going to pick Dame. But then I kind of broke it down as like, if I'm down by 1, who do I want taking it? If I'm down by 2, who do I want taking it? If I'm down by 3. And I think if I was down by 1, I don't know if there's anyone that can probably bully their way to the basket better than Braun. So if you just need a layup and a 2-pointer, LeBron's probably going to be your best bet at going to get it. And if anything else,
if you need a free throw, it's not Braun.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, if you want an air ball,
get to the basket, get fouled.
Yeah, if you want to miss on purpose, give it to LeBron. He'll get you that miss.
LeBron. If you want to get fouled, go to Joel Embiid or something like that. But if I was down by 2, I kind of threw in Devin Booker for a similar reason that you threw in Kawhi, being able just a shot maker. Devin Booker can probably make shots just as good as anyone from anywhere on the floor, mid-range. In a situation when you're down by 2, you just want to take whatever the defense is going to give you. If it's a 3 for the win, or if it's a pull-up jumper or a layup. Down 3, Steph Curry. Down by 4 points, Damian Lillard, because he'll find a way to get fouled and still hit a 3. So that was I had some fun with it, doing like down by 1, 2, 3, and 4. But
down by 5, give it to Ryan because the game's freaking over anyway.
Or put in Mike because he's obviously on the bench in clutch time.
Yeah.
No, dude, game was over already. I'm out.
No, you
Starters
did.
are out,
No, dude.
Hey, I got to do Mike.
Ryan's got a very specific role on the HoopRipz squad, and with the Abriel team. He's the human victory cigar. He gets in when it's all over.
Hey, I'm honored. I will be the last guy in the court. That's the
light
biggest
it up
compliment
and
from a
pass
coach.
and give Ryan the ball. Side
Not
of the
about
back
who
court
starts the
for
game.
Jay.
It's about who finishes the game. Not about the score. Fuck both of you.
Yeah, tell Myers that.
Or Zach Collins, one and the same.
Or Zach, they are
man.
the same.
Numbers don't
Jeez
lie.
Louise, man.
Lewis.
Jeez Lewis. All right, that was fun. Let's move on. This
That was
next
fun, dude.
topic,
That was really fun.
I'm really excited about this topic. I think this is really cool. And Ryan, you brought this up, so shout out to
Hey,
C-Claps.
wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute.
I thought we were picking superstars we don't want.
Oh, my bad.
I
Yes,
want to do
yes,
that.
yes.
100p.
All right, who do you not want to take your last shot?
Who's
I'll
running
go
the
first.
show, dude?
I'll go first. Russell Westbrook, not touching the ball.
Damn it.
Final
Okay, well,
possession.
I think we're all on the same page on this one.
No, it's
so.
not. I'm not on the same page. Although Russ is an honorable mention. I did a close one, actually.
So I had Russ as well, but I actually had LeBron as my other guy as far as not. I wouldn't give it to LeBron. I think you brought up a good point, Doza. He can get to the rim, but does he want to? LeBron is so much into deferring, right? And I love that about him, but at the same time, he's got to look in the mirror and realize he's an absolute fucking god in terms of his physical stature. He can body anybody if he absolutely wants to, but that's if he wants to. So, and I think LeBron would rather see somebody else miss than himself, which sounds kind of harsh, but I think he'd rather see Danny Green last year miss than him. Right? I think that's why he passed. Like last year, I think it was in the playoffs, right? He gave to Danny Green into the game, and Danny Green fucking
he was
because he was guaranteed.
Right? I remember that.
He's like, "Hey man, if we're gonna miss, it's you."
Everybody was shocked. Even Danny Green was like, "Don't give me the fucking ball. Like I don't want this glory."
You know what I do?
Yeah, you know how I do that.
Yeah,
and man.
And so that's what my word about LeBron is. LeBron would make the in his mind the right play, but it'd be really the wrong play because it'd be giving the ball to Danny Green or giving it to CJ or Dame.
Jared Dudley.
So yeah, LeBron or Russ for sure.
Giving it to Dame would be the right play. All right, Mike. Since you're not in the Russell Westbrook camp like the rest of us,
I'm not. But I thought about it. It was almost too easy of an answer.
He's actually pretty legit. And if you look at his stats, he's actually
volume.
One of the most clutch
He's got
players.
volume. Yeah.
We need to look up clutch.
It's just the eye test, dude.
I know. That's all you care about. You don't care about facts. Go ahead.
Facts. I do love facts. If I had to pick a superstar, and I guess this is situation based too, because if he's driving to the hoop, sure, I will have him take the last shot because he's a monster. But anything mid-range and beyond, there's no way I trust it. It's Giannis because he's got the ugliest shot. I don't even think it's not consistent enough for me to be like, if I'm a Bucks fan and I'm seeing Giannis take the last shot and the ball's in the air, I think I'm scared. I don't think we win the game. But I think the Bucks are going to give him the last shot 100% of the time, 100p. But I don't know, dude. Mid-range and 3-point shot. Like, he shoots 30%, less than 30% from three for his career. And it's ugly. Like, I think he's going to, like, hitch too many times and the clock will run out. That's kind of my thought on his shot. So I would pick Giannis.
Interesting. That's a good pick. It's another good pick. Very strange shot. I mean, yeah, he's taken more threes and teams still give him the three, but he's got such a strange looking motion, man. I just looked up a quick list of least clutch players. It has Jimmy Butler as number 2 as of last season, and he's only shooting 28% out of 23s attempted in clutch time. So,
dude, I would give him the ball every time because he's a fucking dog. Every time I'd give him the ball.
Jimmy Butler. None of us mentioned Luka as a guy we would want taking a last shot. He's done nothing but hit big shots. But this list has number 1 Evan Fournier as the worst clutch performer in the NBA.
Well, that's on just
because he's got 5
giving
guys.
him the ball.
Yeah, it's because he's got 5 guys on him because nobody wants to guard the other guys. They don't need to.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Evan Fournier. He's the only one that can even kind of shoot. Anyway, well, now we'll move on to the what if. And I take back my kudos to Ryan for this topic because I already did that. But what if, and here's the question.
Take it back. What the fuck?
Here's the question. Proposed by our very own Coach Averill. Which NBA
It's not
team?
on Twitter first.
I did.
Ooh, hot take.
No,
Did you actually?
100%.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you just told this
You
out of
already
your
know
anus.
Ryan's. You already know Ryan's
No,
answers.
I actually have a different answer, but I think I went with the most obvious answer because
That's
clearly
it.
my
We're
picks
changing the
can't be
passwords
but,
on social media.
or
We'll
else
change the passwords.
you motherfucker. Sorry, I don't want to do anything.
It was a good question, though. It's a good question.
Whoa, dude! I posted 2
What is the
posts in a
question,
row.
Doz?
Yeah, that was Mike's job.
Doz post. Duos.
All right. What team would improve the most if every player was suddenly in their prime? So old guys are flashing back to their glory days and young guys are growing up to their ultimate potential. That's the question. Ryan, since this was your idea and you found this on Twitter and you've already answered probably on behalf of all of us, who is your pick? Talk us through it.
Yeah, my picks, I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns. So shout out Riley. I think their combination of Booker, Ayton, CP3, who's honestly been in his prime for like a decade. So just CP3 being CP3, that Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, they got Jalen Smith, Dario Saric. They have a young squad. And so they don't have a lot of veterans, but that's okay because they're already second in the West as is. So imagine those guys in their prime. That would be a tough squad to beat. My secondary pick, I'm going to give you 2 because that's just what I do. I take everybody's answers for them. I'm going to go with the San Antonio Spurs. I think obviously Spurs having Pop, whenever they have Pop as their coach, or Becky maybe in the future, they're always going to be a legitimate contender. But for me, they have Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. Then you got DeRozan, and then you got Patty Mills and Aldridge. That team's pretty solid. So I would go with Phoenix or San Antonio.
That's solid.
Those are good picks.
I have like 7 more, but I'll save them until you guys go. You give your bad answers, and I'll give my right answers.
There's probably some overlap.
You literally can't just pick 20% of the entire league.
I gave
you can't
2.
pick
I
9
gave 2.
teams. You said you got
have
7
28
more.
left.
I picked half the league.
Well, I 7 more, but I'm going to wait till you guys go out of respect for the bros. But
So basically, you'll just say,
little...
at the end of this episode, you'll have said 9 teams. That would be better
yeah,
if everyone
I think so.
prime.
Well, the argument
you
can be
say that
made
about
that
every single team.
But listen, no, that's what I'm saying. That's the argument. Every team in the NBA could legitimately be considered because they have a mix of
Exactly.
youth.
That's why this is a question. That's why you get to pick 1.
Veterans. I picked 2, and I will pick 7 more.
I'm going to pick 2 also. So
thank you.
I'll pick 5
today, yo.
All right, Mike. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. What is your choice?
So I have a new, like a younger team and then kind of an older team, I guess, if you want to consider them old. But my younger team, I think, would be the Boston Celtics. With Tatum and Brown, obviously not in their prime yet, and they're both unreal already. We've all said that they could. Well, I've said Tatum is more likely to win MVP in his career than Brown is, but you two love Brown. But they're both really good, both all-stars that are actually good. Rare on the podcast. They have Kemba, so him in his prime is legit. Tristan Thompson, his prime was obviously with the Cavs, solid role player.
Mhm.
Jeff Teague, when he was an all-star with the Hawks, was probably his prime. Marcus Smart, well, I'll get back to that in a second, but Grant Williams and Robert Williams, both really young dudes, but have potential to be really, really good role players, which kind of brings me to this question before I move on to that next team. So what does like a prime career, someone in their prime, look like if they're a role player? Like, would you consider Marcus Smart in his prime right now at age 26, 27?
I
Like,
would.
what's it based off of?
Probably. I think,
Because I don't think he's going to get much better, right?
Yeah.
No, I think
You
you
won't
brought
say
up a
it to his
good point,
face, though.
Mike. Yeah, I know. I'm scared of him. I think you brought up a good point, though. I think the per 36 stat is a really strong argument that you can make for a lot of these players who don't get a lot of run or who are considered role players. I feel like Marcus Smart has been the same effective and disruptive role player for like the last, 5 seasons, right? But I do think overall, it's just defined, I think, statistically based off what they do while they're on the court. So it's a great question, but I think you answered earlier with the per 36.
Okay. All right. So next team I'll move to, they're not even that old, but I will say the Brooklyn Nets, this roster in their prime. And you could argue that 3 of them are in their prime right now. So I'll kind of go down the list of guys and like pick the years or the teams they were on where they were like really, really good. Durant obviously is OKC MVP year, his Golden State years, and now I think he's been in his prime for like 7 years. Harden's probably still in his prime. MVP season in Houston was probably his best one, and even now, like, he's maintained that level of play. Kyrie in his later like Cleveland days, maybe not necessarily Boston, but then he's had his 2 best years as a Brooklyn Net, so you could argue that he's just now in his prime now. Deandre Jordan, when he was with the Clippers, solid role player, solid big man, what you need in the game now. Spencer Dinwiddie would never get to see like his full potential as long as he's surrounded by like those stars. We saw in 2000, I think it was 1920 season where he averaged 20 plus when he was like a number 1 or number 2 option. So you can see what he could do if he, had a bigger role on a team, which I just don't think he'll get unless he's moved. Jeff Green, when he was with OKC in Boston, solid role player. And then Joe Harris, who's kind of like that Kyle Korver in his prime. Maybe he's better than Kyle Korver, could be better. Joe Harris is still kind of young, I think. I don't know. But I'd say the Brooklyn Nets is another one where if they were all in their prime, they would be legit. And most of them are in their prime right now. And you see how
I guess that's my question is like, are they getting that much better? Like, is their jump from right now to if everyone's in their prime that much different since their 3 best players are pretty much in their prime? Okay, you can make an argument that they're maybe just past it, but they still got 3 dudes
in
MVP.
My argument is because their bench is like such cheeks, and that's the one that has like Jeff Green, Dinwiddie. Like if those guys were in their prime when they played their best basketball, they'd be really, really good.
Isn't Iman Shumpert technically on the Nets roster right now?
Yeah, and I was gonna throw him on there, but then I looked up his stats for his career, and he is just really not that great. Like he's just, I don't know if like the Iman Shumpert name just became like, oh, he's a solid role player, but like, is he a solid role player?
He has some highlights in New York when he's with the Knicks.
Yeah, he's a good defender.
Yeah, like the Knicks
dunk contest participant.
Yeah, he has some ups for sure.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's solid.
No, yeah,
being solid doesn't mean you're good.
Good. No.
Who's a worse player in the NBA? That's a fun question. Anyway, I'll go mine. This was fun. I had fun with this. I looked through pretty much every NBA roster and just had a blast kind of saying what if for each one of them. But the Knicks were one that came kind of bubbled up with me with D Rose. I don't even know if we ever saw Derrick Rose's full prime before he got injured. But if you put Derrick Rose with a Randall and Barrett, who are only getting better. I think Randall and Barrett have started to find their rhythm a little bit, especially on pick and rolls with the 2 of them. They're pretty lethal, and I can only imagine that they'll get better. You might be seeing the best of Julius Randle right now, but Taj Gibson was a stud. It's kind of those same years with Rose on the Bulls. You look at Quickly, a young guy, and Quickly as a guy that has a lot of potential. And if he was in his prime as a great 2-guard or point guard with D Rose, and even Obi Toppin with his potential, I thought the Knicks, if each one of these guys panned out and you got Derrick Rose back to 2009, 2010 MVP Derrick Rose, and even what could have been if he wasn't injured, I thought the Knicks would stand to improve a lot. I actually even thought about the Blazers. If you had prime Carmelo Anthony on the Blazers right now, he put up 30 a couple nights ago against the Hornets, and he's obviously still capable. But prime Carmelo, when he could drop 50 on your head at any given moment, he would fill a void.
That's interesting.
At a small forward scoring position. Also, Gary Trent being a guy that's only going to get better. Anthony Simons only getting better. I don't know. I thought
Nurkic when he's healthy, Cantor.
Yeah, the Zers were an interesting one to me, mostly because of Melo. I mean, Melo is a Hall of Famer in his prime. He, is an MVP candidate, and just pairing him with the Blazers in that, spot that they've needed as a small forward scoring position guy, Melo would have been great. But those were my two. I did also think about the Bulls. With Kobe White and a lot of young guys and Patrick Williams and all that. But I don't know that any of those guys will ever reach their full potential playing on the Bulls right now.
It's tough. It's tough with those teams and those super young guys because you don't really know. You're just kind of assuming.
You don't know. Ryan, let's hear some of your other exciting ones. I said Knicks, Zers. There's a lot of others you could throw in there. That'd be fun. So let's hear them.
Yeah, no, I think I went with some obvious ones like the Grizzlies and the Pelicans. I think I look at the Grizz roster, Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clark, DeAnthony Melton, and obviously Ja. Even Jonas Valanciunas in his prime was pretty darn good for the Raptors. You know what I mean? And then they have a couple rookies that are, I think, really showing up nice. Xavier Tillman. So I've named 2 Michigan State alums for you.
Go Green!
And then, as reluctantly, I want to say Dylan Brooks, but he is a starter for him, and I guess that makes him good. But I think they're fun to watch. And you look at the Pelicans, Ingram, Zion, Lonzo, JJ Redick, who feels like he's been in his prime as well for a decade or 15 years or however long he's been in the NBA. Just a constant bucket getter. Nikhil Alexander Walker is another one I think to keep your eye on. Josh Hart. So I think those are 2 really solid squads. If they can all stay together, they could be pretty fun to watch. I'm always kind of looking for who's going to be the next OKC out there, a team that kind of really builds from within, builds through the draft, right? That's kind of how it started for OKC with Serge and Russ and KD and Harden and Jeff Green. All those guys kind of came through their lottery picks, right, or first round picks, and it worked out pretty nicely. They couldn't get it done in 2000, I believe 2012. But needless to say, I'm always looking for the next OKC. I think these 2 teams have some of the best chances, especially the Pelicans with Zion and Ingram.
Yeah. OKC could have made this list as well of teams that would be improved a lot if everyone's in their prime.
You can even throw the Lakers, dude.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, you can throw a lot.
Like Marc Gasol when he was really good. Yeah.
It's hard to say that
there's a lot of teams.
The question was who would improve the most. So who's a butt team now that would be a legit, conference contender? The Lakers seem to be pretty good now. It's hard to say that they would improve that much more. But OKC was an interesting one with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Theo Maledon, Hamidou Diallo, Trevor Ariza, even on their team would be a solid kind of small forward. George Hill, Al Horford. So
yeah.
I don't know. The Blazers is an interesting one, man. On if everyone adding prime Carmelo to the current Blazers. I also thought about the Nuggets. I don't know with Michael Porter Jr., R.J. Hampton, Bol as some of their young guys.
Murray is still young too.
Murray, even Paul Millsap, dropping him back to early young Utah Jazz days. So it was fun. That was a fun topic. I'm glad we found that. Shout out to whatever Twitter account tweeted that. But we'll move on. We're going to talk about grading sports cards to wrap this thing up. Ryan, you talked about it on episode 16 just a couple days ago. PSA raising their prices. I know you want to talk a little bit about today, how to determine what cards should be graded in your collection. You pulled yesterday. You should show the folks on YouTube that Vince Carter poll you had yesterday, because that thing is beautiful. And you got to find it. Come on.
Yep, found it. Well, I have so many cards on my desk here that
I know.
going to be out for grading here soon. So I think to kind of, speak to the first thing quickly, yesterday or 2 days ago, PSA, one of the largest and most legitimate grading companies in the industry, announced that they're raising their prices, nearly 50% on all packages and all services, from your most economic, 4 to 6 month turnaround all the way till your next day service, which used to be, I think, $200. Now that one's $600 per card. And these are all prices per card, which is insane. I used to pay around, about a year and a half ago, I was paying $12 per card for like a basic service level. And that was about a 4 to 6 month turnaround. That went up to $16 most recently when we kind of start working together, all of us. And now that's gone up to $25 a card. And $25 a card a year and a half ago got you 30-day service, right? And so for a 30-day service, now you're looking at about 150. I mean, it's just insane. And so I think the main reason they did it is because, one, the industry is exploding and everybody is submitting their cards. And so to PSA for grading, and they're so backlogged, right, that they almost want to kind of clear the pipes a bit and slow down kind of these submissions by almost, for lack of a better term, scaring people away from doing it by saying, hey, we're making this almost unreasonably unaffordable for people, hopefully, freeing up bandwidth and resources for PSA to catch up. And I would like to think that those prices will kind of normalize with the rest of the industry in the next, 6 months to a year. But until people stop paying them, they're going to keep charging them, right? And so that's what's unfortunate. But it's a good thing to see the hobby growing so much, but it's also brutal for those who are new to the hobby, want to be able to make a quick buck. Making a quick buck isn't a quick buck anymore. It's now more of a lengthier process and bigger investment. But if you really care about the hobby and you care about, the cards you have, then you're going to, find a way to make it happen. And that's kind of my attitude, is like, I got to make it happen. So anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at, and it's not going to stop me from sending in cards. I may kind of like space out how often I do it or how many cards I do in one submission. I was doing about 100 per submission before. I'm probably going to shrink that down to around 30 to 40 to make it a little bit more digestible from like a financial standpoint, so my wife doesn't leave me. So that's a big piece. And then really kind of how I determine what cards to grade. For me personally, I kind of go with just all rookies, right? Especially if they're lottery picks, first rounders, or even like the rookies who are just, showing out and maybe didn't have much expectations associated with their name and their game. But those kind of late bloomers who are just kind of surprising people, so for example, these are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 cards I'm going to send in for, I think I'm going to go 60-day turnaround, which is $75 a card. But I do feel like the return on these is going to be pretty high if they get a 10. So I have a Rui silver NBA Hoops premium tribute insert card. I'm a big fan of Rui in general. So anything of his, I get struggling. Graded base or color.
We need to play better.
He's been struggling, but a couple weeks ago he was averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds. Like he's a poor man's Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion. That's a very, very, very like ambitious comparison, but I do think he has
broke-ass
like, a lot of
Kawhi Leonard.
Broke-ass man. Well, as
very broke,
very broke,
in
but
terrible debt.
So does something like him being in the Rising Stars game, does that help something like this? He'll be representing Japan in the Rising Stars game this Sunday.
Yeah. He has global stock, and relevance. And, I think with Rui, even before, those rosters were announced, he's been a hot collector, card to collect as of the last, I would say 6 to 9 months. And so I've been big on him since, he was drafted. And I would say him, Tyler Hero, Brandon Clark, and Kendrick Nunn, plus Zion and Ja, are like some of the core rookies from last season, as well as RJ Barrett. So I have an RJ Barrett silver as well. He's having a pretty good season for the Knicks, better than I was nervous about him. And me and Doza kind of joked about him being just absolute butt, kind of selling stock on him because he just had a rough rookie year. But he's actually been pretty efficient, shooting better percentage-wise. This is the same card as the Rui one, but it's a silver of RJ Barrett. First-year cards of superstars on new teams always do well. So this is a first-year KD on the Nets. This is a insert card Lights, Camera, Action, NBA Hoops Premium. It's a silver prism parallel. So this one's going to be a nice one to grade. Again, first-year cards on new teams or superstars are always going to be a hot buy. Blue Cracked Ice. So again, first-year Nets card of KD.
KD hates picture day, bro. Look at him. That dude hates picture day.
So sad.
Well, this was preseason because remember last year he didn't play, right? So they don't got anything of him in uniform from the 2019-2020 season.
True.
So they had to take this from media day, and so that's why this card's so limited because they don't have a lot of content of him. Giannis. So again, coming off an MVP season, this card's going to do well. It's an insert card. Get out the way. NBA Hoops Premium stock, as you can see, that's kind of the red thread. Is those cards I think are going to resell well. This is also a silver prism parallel, so big on that one. Got a Zion, another similar to the KD one. Lights, Camera, Action. Zion silver prism here as well. Love this card. And then a Cam Reddish silver. I love Cam Reddish as well. I think he's going to have, if John Collins gets moved and gets traded, you're going to see Cam Reddish get a bigger role. DeAndre Hunter, he's hurt, another rookie on the Hawks. So Reddish might have a bigger role than what we kind of anticipated, especially if they're going to have some personnel changes. And then a John Morant, any John Morant. This is a base tribute card from the NBA Hoops, but any John Morant is going to
especially in that teal jersey.
Yeah, this is a nice one. I like the teal jersey. The centering's solid. This one I think will be a 10. I'm pretty confident in that. So these are the cards I get graded. Again, rookies, first year, superstars on new teams, and then players coming up MVP seasons. But those are the ones I'm going to send out to PSA probably within the next day or two. And then this is the one I pulled yesterday. It's from NBA Hoops, the 2020-2021 product line. This is a silver hollow Vince Carter. So like a little throwback. So Slam Magazine is doing a partnership with NBA Hoops and Panini to where they're taking old Slam covers and turning them into sports cards. And so this card dope. I pulled yesterday. My wife found 4 fat packs, which have 30 cards each. She found 4 of them for $5 each at Barnes & Noble, just randomly. She was there with one of her boys, and she happened to find him and brought him home. And I was super hyped about it. And so I pulled this card, and on eBay, the most recent sale, this one went for $150, and that's raw. So if I get this one graded, this could be a $1,000 card, if not more, right? Vince Carter, absolute legend, future Hall of Famer. The more I hold on to this, the more I think it's going to sell for, especially if he's in the Hall of Fame in the next 2 to 5 years. I'll probably wait till then to sell it because I do think at that point it's going to be worth probably $2,000 or if not more. So really hyped about this one. And I'll probably include that with the other ones I showed you.
Hey,
that card is so dope.
Appreciate the insight as always, Ryan. You are our in-house card collector extravaganza. All things cards. Ryan Averill is your guy. We're always on the hunt for cards. Strike out a lot at Target in the mornings and at Walmart and apparently Barnes & Noble. Of Rite Aid, the weirdest. You'll find cards at the weirdest places. And if you're interested in getting into the hobby, we are.
Please don't. It'll make it more expensive for us.
Yeah, please don't.
For the love of God.
Yeah. Buy the baseball ones. Leave the hoops, please.
Buy hockey. Buy the fucking NASCAR.
Yeah, wrestling. Big
market. Plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh cards out there. You should grab those.
Yu-Gi-Ohs?
Yeah. Buy NCAA baseball. As I hear a great. Doki Doze.
Dozimon.
But hey, before we get too far down the Doze pun route, we have a lot of inside jokes on this show, and we are hoping to publish on Instagram a little dictionary so that you guys have all of our inside jokes in one nice, neat Instagram highlight. So if you ever are confused about one of our inside jokes, we'll get those up on Instagram. You can go check it out. We're just waiting on Ryan. Would love to see the description.
so they can read them. They can read them and be like, "Wow, this joke's even dumber than I thought it was."
No,
yeah, this joke sucks.
But I will say all the jokes. They're all the common denominator is Doze. He is either the butt of the joke, the inspiration behind the joke, or it's just a roast of Doze. But Doze is a part of all of them. So shout out
Doze wasn't here, and if Doze wasn't here, what would you guys talk about?
I would find a way to talk about you somehow. I don't know. If you didn't exist in this world, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be as happy and my jokes wouldn't land as much. But you're here. Although last night you did ghost me twice and playing COD, which is kind of fucked up. A no text back is pretty messed up. 100%, guys. 100%.
Oh, dude, I was watching
Twice.
a movie with the wife, man. Jeez,
All you gotta say is, "Hey, man, I'm not dropping tonight." I'm like, "All right, sweet."
I can never please Ryan. For those of you who would like to know more,
Comes.
Ryan would. If I'm ever going to play a video game, Ryan would like a text to the group, a text on the side personally to Ryan.
Yeah, to me.
A messenger owl sent to his window with a letter stating
A DM.
that Eric,
Horse mail.
a D on Instagram,
Pigeon mail.
And a
would
DM
probably,
to his OnlyFans as well.
you don't want if Ryan has an OnlyFans, you better run the opposite direction.
Yeah, you won't be able to see much. It's got a good zoom.
So if I fail to ever do any one of those things, Ryan's upset.
Bad bro.
Sometimes I don't come through, and I'm only human. And last night I
Well,
had
those-
little Pippin was.
You know the criteria,
surgery.
man. You know the criteria.
Yeah, I just don't know. My thumbs
Look.
start cramping by the time I'm done letting Ryan know I'm playing, and then I got to play with
Look.
cramped thumbs, man. What the hell?
You have to prove
Sorry,
to
all these
us
text
that
messages I sent.
you have to prove
That's
to
why I
us that you
suck.
don't that you
Yeah,
don't
I suck.
hate COD. You have to prove to us that you don't hate
Slide
COD.
cancel with your tongue.
And and so by giving us good comms, that proves to me that you're a good bro. And all I want you to do is sign on, play COD, and let me know when you're on. Versus sometimes I log on and
Let
you've
me
been on
know.
for like 2 hours.
That's still
you
not enough.
sneak on. And it's messed
There will
up. dude.
never-
Sneaky Doze. Dead silence on the car.
He's onto COD. Here's why. Doze is obsessed with trying to get the Damascus skin on all his guns. So he wants to grind MP without any interruption. So the minute I get on, he's like, well, fuck. There goes my grind.
I got to play with Ryan.
I got to drop with C-Claps. Shout out C-Claps. Gamer tag. Hit me up if you want to play. I'm not very good.
Shameless plug. Get out of here with your plug.
Yeah. Well, anyways, and then autographs. You want to also get autographs.
Yeah.
Graded, and then if they're good, and then also cards that have.
Is that Jeremy
this
Grant?
one?
Who is that?
Yeah. This is Langston Galloway, who's now I think he's in the Suns.
This
And
is
then cards
Will Klein. This
that
is
have
Will
a
Klein.
numbered on them. Yeah. Well.
Yankees.
Let me know how he
Yeah,
does.
the Yankees.
No, that's Eastern Illinois.
Oh, dude, nice, sweet college baseball card, dude.
Sick college baseball card. Ryan needs to come get these
Don't
cards.
buy those, guys.
Or you can.
I got a
You-
Topps Chrome Mega for Ryan sitting in the closet.
Yeah. Well,
Sitting on the toilet.
I'm not allowed near Mike within 50 miles of him.
Well,
until
I'll drop it
further
off.
notice.
I'll drop it off on your doorstep.
No.
Ring your doorbell and give you a shout out Doze.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh
Mhm.
man. Well, the Damascus grind is real, so you need to respect it. And when we do play with Ryan on multiplayer, first of all, he doesn't ever want to play multiplayer. Second of all, when we play multiplayer with Ryan, he just bitches the whole time that he
I
can't
do.
play.
His cheeks, unless you're warming up.
Yeah, it's a good warm up, little shipment, just a good warm up. But the
There's some-
Damascus grind is real.
Yeah.
It's going to be the death of me. It's going to kill me.
By the time you get it, it's Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah,
Mike's gone.
it'll be gone.
Oh,
Mike,
that's
all right.
I'm
Hey,
here.
Mike, see you later. Oh,
Do you see that? Does his thing
Yeah,
with
his
his
camera
also
would-
Mike? I'm shy.
I blacked out.
Mike, I'm side.
I blacked out. Well, hey, before we talk about COD anymore and any more butt takes come out of Ryan's mouth, let's call this show. It's a good show.
On behalf of everybody.
On behalf of everybody, Ryan would like to comment.
I'm not here to build personal clout, so I'm not going to sign off Sir Doza or Sir Rosa. I'm here to sign off as the bros. I take Doze hates the bros.
Oh man, Doze loves the bros. But thank you for being here. Episode 17. This was fun. If you haven't subscribed or followed us on YouTube, go check it out.
We
Our goal is
understand.
to make
We
it to
understand.
25 subscribers. Not huge goals, but they're goals. So let's get to 25 subscribers. Also, hit us up on social media. If you have topics for us to discuss, we want to talk about them. Not even our avid listeners have been giving us enough topics, although I don't think we did.
Oh no,
Dwayne.
I got some. Riley has some. He has those Laker fans proposing the most ridiculous
Oh,
trades,
yeah, that'd
and he
be
sent me a
funny.
bunch of tweets, and they're
All right,
they are
we got to
so
do that.
stupid.
We got to do that. And I think Dwayne wanted to hear a few things from us as well. So we'll hit up some of your guys' topics. Hit us up on Instagram. Let us know. Send us a DM. Slide in. Ryan will probably see it. But that's the show. Thanks for being here. HoopRipz. later.